Welcome to the deep dive. So, for those of us keeping an eye on generative AI, especially in creative spaces, today's topic is really interesting. It's called the Generative Doodle Game V4 with Creativity Slider.
Mm.
Now, we've seen AI image generators, sure, and style mimics, but this specific combo, generative plus a literal creativity slider, well, makes you think, right? About control, about what the AI is actually doing.
Exactly.
So our mission for this deep dive is basically to unpack what this thing means for creativity, for how we interact with these tools.
And it really touches on, fascinating intersections. Tech, art, human-machine collaboration.
Yep.
It's all in there.
Yeah, it feels like it forces us to look at creativity itself a bit differently. Is it the person doodling, the AI interpreting, or like the whole process?
That's the core question, isn't it? It hints at something beyond just software.
Okay, let's get into it then. A generative doodle game. How is that fundamentally different from, say, just a normal drawing app on your tablet? What's the generative part really do?
Right. So generative here means the system isn't just a passive canvas. It's actively creating or modifying based on what you put in.
Oh.
It uses, algorithms, often complex ones, that have learned patterns from tons of data. It's not just applying a simple filter. It's predicting, creating new stuff based on your doodle.
So it's less like a brush and more like a collaborator, an
An
assistant.
artistic co-pilot is a good way to think about it. You give it a seed, your doodle, and it grows something from it. It can infer, extend, sometimes even totally reinvent your idea.
A co-pilot. I like that.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the really intriguing part, the creativity slider. And it's specifically noted as being set at 50%, a creativity percentage. That sounds, well, how do you even quantify creativity like that? What does 50% mean in practice?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It immediately brings up these deep issues about, like, agency. Who's in charge here?
Right.
So that slider, think of it as a dial for how much the AI gets to interpret or even deviate from what you drew. At 0%, it might stick really close to your lines. Maybe just cleans them up, adds a subtle texture, something like that. But if you crank it up towards 100%, it could take your simple circle and, who knows, see a face, or build a whole landscape from just a squiggle.
Wow.
You're essentially controlling the level of, let's say, algorithmic unpredictability, how much freedom you're giving the AI to think outside the box based on your prompt.
So you're dialing in the AI's temperament, its willingness to go wild.
Sort of, yeah, it's interpretive freedom.
That's kind of mind-bending. And speaking of interpretation, the game also lists specific artist style options. Van Gogh, Picasso, Kandinsky, Pointillism. I mean, that's amazing. You doodle something basic, and it can render it like Van Gogh.
Exactly, and that highlights the sheer complexity and power we're talking about.
Yeah.
The system doesn't just see lines. It has to understand the essence of Van Gogh's swirling strokes or Picasso's fractured perspectives or Kandinsky's abstraction.
How does it even learn that?
Through massive amounts of training data, essentially learning the grammar of each style. So it lets you, the user, take your own simple sketch and instantly see it reimagined through these totally different iconic lenses.
Them artistic playground. See your house sketches of Kandinsky.
Or your dog done by Picasso, yeah. It offers this immediate stylistic translation, which is, well, it was impossible on this scale before.
It's fascinating. But then, even with all this AI power generating, interpreting, stylizing, they still include basic buttons like undo, clear, save. That seems important.
That's absolutely critical.
Does that mean, like, even if we want the AI's help, we still need that final say?
Where's it?
Exactly. It shows a design philosophy where the human is still firmly in the loop. The AI is a powerful co-creator, yes, but these tools acknowledge your intent, your desire for control. It means you're not just passively watching the AI, you're actively curating, collaborating. You can nudge it, undo its suggestions, save what you like. It ensures the final thing still feels like yours, even with the AI's heavy involvement. Right, so pulling back a bit, this whole generative doodle game thing seems to be this really unique mix. It's your input, but then there's this sophisticated AI generation layered on top.
Yeah.
And crucially, you have these explicit controls over how it interprets the style and even this abstract creativity level.
And that's where it gets really interesting, looking bigger picture. This kind of tool, it really starts to challenge our old ideas about authorship, right?
How so?
Well, if the AI turns your simple doodle into something amazing in Van Gogh's style, who's the artist?
Yeah.
You, the AI, the original artist whose style was learned. It blurs those lines.
Yeah, I see that.
It makes us ask, Is creativity just a human thing, or can it be something that emerges from these complex algorithms interacting with us?
Yeah.
It definitely pushes the boundaries between the artist and the tool.
That is a deep thought, not just for art, but really any creative work.
Hmm.
So, okay, maybe a final thought for you listening. Next time you're sketching, brainstorming, whatever, think about this. What if you had a tool where you could literally dial creativity up or down, or instantly see your idea through the eyes of a master? How might that change how you approach creating things, or even just solving problems?
Yeah.
Well, it's a pretty exciting frontier to think about.